Yeah, first and foremost, a huge congratulations to the PGP class of 2026. Teaching has been one of the joys of my life, and spending time with all of you in the classroom is truly a pleasure. My students have given me much more than I have given them, and I'm so grateful for all of you for asking me to come and give a few words of advice. My talk today is on what I call, the tagline is do small, dream big, and I hope that I can leave you with that message by the time, the next 10 minutes are over, right? I'm a huge fan of superheroes, by the way. Right? I have a collection of t-shirts at home with Superman and Batman and so on. And I ask, often my students, why am I a big fan of superheroes? Is it because that they have enormous power? Is it because, they can do things that most of us can't do? Is it because they come from a different planet? And I'll tell you the answer. So we will revisit superheroes at the end of this talk, and I'll try and tell you why I admire a lot of them. Is it because they wear their undergarments outside their pants? Some of them don't wear pants at all. Yeah. What I want to leave you with today is this theory called the fur burner theory. Have you heard of this? Right? Some of you may have heard of it, but broadly what it says is that if you view the amount of time that you have, if you view your life as a stovetop, there are broadly 4 activities that are going to swallow most of your time, isn't it? Family, work, friends, and your health. Right? And the author and American humorist, David Sedaris, was the author of this particular theory. And what he broadly says is that if you want to be very successful, you have to at least turn off one burner. If work and success is what defines you, then you have to at least turn off one of the other burners. And if you want to be really, really successful, you have to turn off 2 burners. Okay? Now let's examine each of these burners in turn. The first one, family, perhaps the most important for all of us. But unfortunately, it's the one that gets sacrificed the most often when you go in your pursuit of success. Why is that? Because oftentimes you cannot delegate family responsibility. When your mom needs you to take her to the hospital, you can't tell someone else to do it. When your kids need you to take them to a soccer game, they want you to take them to that soccer game. They don't want a stranger to take them. When it comes to work, you may be able to delegate responsibility to someone else. But most of the times when it comes to family, you cannot delegate that responsibility, and therefore what ends up happening is that when you're stuck in the office, your family is the one that gets sacrificed the most. Right? The other thing that you'll find about family is that tasks are extraordinarily repetitive. Right? What is great about speaking to the same 4 people for 50 years? Right? You will see that, look, things get boring, things get repetitive a lot of times. Right? My mom, who's extremely old right now, tells me the same jokes that she's said for many years. Right? I've heard the same jokes over and over again. Right? Because she doesn't leave home much. She stays at home now, but she tells me the same stories from her childhood over and over again. It's repetitive. But family is one of the most important things that we have, and that's the one that gets sacrificed the most. Right? The second burner is work. Right? Very, very hard to turn off, because what are we all here for, isn't it? We've gotten a degree from one of India's best institutions, perhaps the best institution. Right? This is what we've all come here for, isn't it? Turning off that burner called work is extraordinarily difficult, isn't it? It gives us identity, it gives us power, it gives us status, it gives us responsibility. It's sometimes an escape. Right? You don't want to do things, so you end up going to work just to be away from the other things that are nagging you from behind. Right? But the problem with work is if you give it too much flame, then the others are going to get extinguished. Okay? Your third burner is health. Right? Oftentimes in the pursuit of success, you will skip sleep, you will miss meals, you catch up on sleep in class. Caffeine at work, alcohol after work, right? You're schmoozing clients, you're skipping meals, you're working at home, you're getting client meetings after work. All of this is going to be a constant for all of you over the next few years, right? Health is a burner that flickers, gives you a lot of warnings, but it stays on, and it stays on for a long time. But oftentimes we perhaps ignore it until it's too late. Right? The last burner is what I call friends, or fun. Right? They're often a silent casualty. Right? You don't realize this, but you grow apart. As soon as you leave this campus, your lives will take you one way. You will make connections, but you will probably not have too many real friends. A friend that you can depend on when you need them, a friend with whom you can share a lot of things that you perhaps wouldn't share with the outside community. One of the messages that I do want to have for all of you is that make real friendships. This has been an opportunity for you to spend 2 years of your time here. You should have made real friends as you spend your time here at IIM Bangalore. Okay, so let's test this theory. Right? If you have to be extremely successful, remember you have to turn off 2 burners. Look at Tiger Woods. Perhaps I've never seen anyone hit a golf ball better than him. Right? Fantastic player, right? Plays extraordinarily well, extremely successful at work, hard party goer. He's divorced, right? Turned off family, turned off his health, multiple surgeries and so on. Same thing that goes with Mark Zuckerberg. Supremely focused, extremely successful, health freak, right? Does jujitsu, does all of this to keep himself in shape. But his friends and family describe him as emotionally distant, right? He sacrificed his friends and family. So again, turned off 2 burners, right? The message is you can't defeat the burners, right? But what I'm going to leave you with is a story that says you don't have to defeat them, but you can dim them, right? If work is a priority, right? Put some effort into your work, right? If there's a project that's going on that's going to take up your time for the next 2 months, do it. Dim the burners that are called family and health, right? Spend time at works, do late nights, schmooze with your clients, do all of that. But once that project is over, take a break, extinguish or at least dim the flames of work and fun and go back to your family and your health, right? So reprioritize, rotate the burners so that like you have a balanced lifestyle. If you don't do this, if you keep jumping from one project to another, if you keep just doing this over and over again, then those burners called friends, family, health, all of that will slowly start to dim away. Okay? When health needs your attention, of course, dim everything else. Because if you are not strong, you cannot help anyone else. You're not productive, you're not useful to yourself and to your family. Remember that prioritization matters. Some burners may get a high flame for some of the time, but no burner should get a high flame all the time. Because if a burner takes up too much flame, then you will end up extinguishing the others. Okay? So what's the solution to this? My solution is that tagline, which is called do small, dream big. And the inspiration for this comes from the fact that as a parent, one of the activities that I've done repeatedly, remember the tasks are repetitive when it comes to family, is I've changed a lot of diapers in my life. Right? One day, on a jobless evening, my wife and I sat on a sofa and we counted how many diaper changes have we done for our 2 kids. Right? We've done about 5,500 diaper changes and we've spent about 1 lakh rupees buying diapers. Right? A lot of you are going to be doing this in the future. Right? What is great about doing this? Yeah? What is great about cleaning poop? Nothing, right? But what I am trying to show you here is that when you do the same task well, yes, it is a small task, but it's repetitive, but when you do it well, kids grow up and they see that affection, they see that love. Kids imbibe organically your work ethic, your love, your ability to be with them all the time. And there's, I think, no better synonym in some ways for doing the task, which I call do small, dream big. Because when you do small tasks repeatedly well, again and again and again, your kids will grow up well. And they, in some ways, for me, epitomize this notion of what I call do small, dream big. Right? So now, coming back to superheroes, why do I like them so much? Because most of the time, Superman is not doing anything spectacular. He's rescuing a cat from a tree. He's helping an old lady across the street. He's doing small tasks repetitively. Right? He is not looking for one high after another. As you sit here today is one of the great highs of your life, isn't it? How often do you get a degree from an institution like IIM Bangalore? But if you keep chasing the highs again and again, if every day you want it to be a high, then you're going to become an addict. Right? And that's not what we want to be. Right? You want to have consistency in small tasks. You want to be repetitive in small tasks. And that, I think, is extremely important. You need to find pleasure in routine. You need to find value in boredom. Right? That is really when you're going to be successful. Right? Conserve your energy, conserve your patience, and then when the time is right, dream big. I will leave you with this. Be a superhero, do small, dream big. Thank you.